This Week in Startups is brought to you by Braintree. Looking to set up payments for your business? Braintree gives your app or website a payment solution that accepts just about every payment method with one simple integration. Plus, we'll give you your first $50,000 in transactions fee-free. To learn more, visit braintreepayments.com/twist. And Wistia. Take control of your video marketing with powerful tools and analytics built specifically for business. Go to wistia.com/twist to get your free Wistia account today.
Today, it's an all Shark Tank Ask Jason, recorded at TWiST Live with Eric Ries at Golden Gate WeWork. Thanks to our TWiST Live partners, Samsung Global Innovation Center and Silicon Valley Bank.
That's what it's all about, man. They said, money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Okay, everybody, welcome to another edition of This Week in Startups. I'm your host, Jason Calacanis, and this is one of my favorite things to do in the world, which is take pitches from startups, give candid feedback, answer questions, and just wrap out with the people who are striving and hustling to try to do something epic in the world. So, welcome to This Week in Startups Live. When I raise my hand, that's when you guys, yeah, that's it, all right. And then I give you a whoop. We'll try that one more time, and then I go up, and up a little more, and then tight. Pretty good, pretty good. We'll work on the tight close. All right, here's our first young whippersnapper. Lee, you have a question for me. Let's hear it.
I do. Actually, a pitch, Jason.
Okay,
Thanks
3,
for
2,
the
1, go.
opportunity.
Yeah, of course.
All right, my name's Lee Gross. We're with a young startup called FYP Consulting. We're in the dairy business initially. FYP stands for Find Your Profit.
Gotcha.
Dairy farmers are exactly as you imagine them. They work 24/7, 365, and they work with data sources that are, some date back to 30 years. So the whole technological revolution has not hit most dairy farms. So our goal is to integrate data from these existing data sources and perform some business intelligence using top-level talent out in the dairy industry and help the dairy with their daily decision making essentially through the integration of the data and interpretation of data, give them some insights that they might have trouble trying to sort out on their own when they're out there every day doing their thing.
Great. So you'd like my general feedback on this?
Yes, particularly
Right.
in a small, rather specialized space like that, although the principles apply to throughout agriculture, whatever enterprise, crops, dairy, beef, sheep, hogs.
Sure. So agriculture and farming is obviously a huge business, and people don't realize that there's a lot of still mom and pop operations, and they are selling to very big companies like Tyson Chicken, I guess, is corner of the market on all the chicken farmers, et cetera, and they're under a lot of stress, aren't they? And it reminds me a lot of the local mom and pop stores that you see in a town, which is they're super busy just trying to stay afloat. They're living month to month, quarter to quarter in most cases, which means they have a lot of people knocking on that door saying, hey, try Thumbtack. Hey, try Yelp. Hey, try Signpost. Hey, try this, try that, try a Groupon. And there is a general burnout because so many startups are coming to them. Now, I don't know if that's the case yet in agriculture or in farming, but I do know that there are companies like Climate.com that was bought by Monsanto, and a lot of people working on sensors, and this revolution will come to those places. I think being able to have a small number of clients and over-service them early on is one of the things that startups are afraid to do. So my best advice to you in that first year is to really pick a small number of farms, give them the product for free or on some sort of contingency, and really help them implement it. Because it's one thing to make the tool, but the implementation of it is where it's going to be very difficult, because that farmer, they may have not used an iPad or apps, or they might be using paper and pencil. If I'm mistaken, you can correct me. But that's going to be the big issue. Is I think is getting them to adopt the technology when they're super busy. So I think that, am I right about that?
No,
the
you're
hand-holding?
absolutely on the money, and they interact with a lot of the big players, the Pfizers, the Zoetis's, the Elanco's, all the big agricultural firms. Do you have a suggestion on how to incentivize those big players to take part in this and support this kind of effort?
My best advice is to stay away from them now. The big companies will drown the little companies. So essentially what happens is you're this little company swimming in the ocean, you're trying to figure it out, and then an 800-pound gorilla jumps on your back like Monsanto or Tyson or whatever, and then you got to go to meetings, and then they add people to the meetings, and you're in a meeting and they're sucking your brain, and then they promise you all this stuff, and 6 months goes by, 9 months goes by, 12 months goes by, nothing ever happens, and all that time you could have been focused on those 2 or 3 farmers and solving their problems. What happens with those big companies is they wind up hearing about your company through your shared clients, and then at some point they come and go, wow, we talked to, this is literally how the M&A departments work at big companies, we talked to 100 of our clients. 7 of them are using this application, and they love it, and they have an NPS score of this. We need to buy this company, and this is what like a Salesforce will do, or an SAP or an Oracle. We know that 7 out of 100, 12 out of, and they track it quarter by quarter, how many of their clients are using these other products through surveys and their sales reps talking to them. So that's the way you want to get on their radar, is you want them contacting you. You want those companies contacting you and saying, hey, Lee, we know that you're working with some of our clients. Can we have you come in? And then when you go in and you meet with them, you have to play dumb. They say, hey, so what are you trying to do? And you're like, we're trying to help cow farmers. And they're like, okay, how are you doing that? Well, we're making products and services that just, gosh darn it, make life a little bit easier. And you don't give them a lot of details. And then they say, well, what are you going to do here? How are you going to make this grow? And you say, well, actually, I'd love to get your advice on that. So when I sold my company, Weblogs Inc., to AOL, they were doing the whole brain dump, trying to get all the information. And they're like, so how many blogs are you going to create? And I'm like, well, we've made 85. And they said, well, how many are you going to make? I'm like, I don't know. How many do you think we should make? And we progressed like that until finally they were like, okay, we'll just buy the company, right? All right, it's a great question. I wish you continued success with it. Focus on 2 or 3 customers and make yourself absolutely, absolutely required and the most loved product that they use every day. If you don't do that, nothing else matters anyway. So ignore all the other noise, focus on 2 or 3 customers, and make their lives better. And then everything solves itself. Investors, M&A, raising money, it'll all get easy.
Yeah, super. I
Let's
appreciate
hear it for Lee.
That fits. Thank you.
All right. It's okay. We'll just do a dissolve, whoosh, a whoosh. Okay. Oh, wow, you can actually show the product. Here we go. Why not? Are you French? Is that a French accent in here?
Yes, I am.
Bonjour. Huh? That's pretty good. Comment allez-vous? Magnifique. I'm showing off what 3 years of failing French in high school in Brooklyn, how far that will take you. All right, here we go. So welcome, Jessica, and you have a product you want to pitch me.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you 30 seconds. 3, 2, go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jessica, and I bootstrapped Tuco, which is a web platform for parents to create healthy lunchbox menus for their kids. I had a big problem with my toddler because she didn't eat anything, so I needed a tool, very simple, to help me be organized.
Right into the microphone. Let's just make sure you...
For creating lunchbox menus, planning meals, and getting a grocery list, all personalized.
Great. So the way the product works is, number 1, you create your lunchbox. 2, you create a plan, you get your grocery list, and you boom.
Want to see how it works?
Yeah, go ahead. Why not? I'm intrigued, so let's go ahead and do that.
Let's go into my account.
Okay, you're logging in.
Yeah.
I'm going to sportscast it for you. Jessica logs in, and she sees the last menu that she picked from.
I created for my kids. Actually, I have 2 kids. I'm a mom of 2 kids. Yeah. So when you want to create a lunchbox, you can get your kid involved. And like this, the kid is happy to have the food he or she wants. It's like a game for them. And for me, I know this is well balanced and with healthy food and fresh food. You see, you just have to tap on your mobile phone or your tablet, and the kid is really happy, to get the menus at the end.
So it's a menu planner. You're not actually giving the food as a service to people. It's a
tool
content management system basically to plan out lunches with your kids.
Yeah, for being organized and efficient, and the kid can be involved in the process. Yeah.
Awesome. How long have you been working on it?
Part-time during 1 year because I had my little baby boy.
I love it. So how much have you invested in this so far? How much did it cost you to get this far? I'm curious.
0 because I bootstrapped everything. I was coding the stuff.
You coded it. Yeah. Now, what is the revenue model?
For now, I have nothing, no revenue, because I want it to be free for the parents, and I want to build partnerships and affiliations with food companies, dairy services companies, and maybe food sports teams. Why not?
Love it. So what is your question for me? You want general feedback? You want to learn how to make it to a business?
Product. How do you see how it can grow?
Yeah. Okay. I love the product.
Thank you.
Because I'm dealing with it right now. So whenever you speak to a parent, they're going to love this product.
Okay.
And if you speak to somebody who doesn't have kids, they're going to be like, this is dumb. I don't know why you would need this.
It could be useful for entrepreneurs, because...
Well, some of them don't eat very well. That's true. And some of them are as mature as our kids. But what's really great about it is you built something from the heart. You built something with firsthand knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And that always makes for great products, doesn't it? Because unlike Lee, who was working with farmers, I'm not sure if Lee was an actual dairy farmer. He is, and the wife is, or the co-founder. I'm not sure. So that's great. If you're in it, then you don't need to do user interviews. You can just look in the mirror and ask yourself questions. It always helps to do more. So what I like about it is I think it's fun for kids. I think it's educational, and it puts them in control, and it treats them like adults, right? Which is kids always react good when they're in control and they get to learn. So it's got all of the great, Montessori Reggio kind of school teaching techniques to empower kids as opposed to dictate and dominate over kids and tell them, here's your lunch, appreciate it. Which is basically what my dad did. Is I think he just threw a $20 bill at me and said, get the hell out of the room and buy pizza with your brothers, right? So it's great in that way. Now, there are so many ways that you could make this into a business. One way is it could be an app, right? Because right now it's responsive web.
Yeah, responsive web.
Which is fine. It could become an app. You could charge $1 for it or $10. It'll be a small business. What's already happening out there, and I've seen pitches on a number of companies, is people are actually letting you do this, and then they bring the meals to the school. So, for example, in my daughter's school, she's in kindergarten, we do a process like this, not to this level of like picking the cheese, picking the carrots, picking the meat, but actually we pick the meal in general, and my daughter picks it with my wife, and they have fun doing it. They pick 2 weeks at a time, and that food is delivered. So it's a really great thing. Then what a lot of other companies have done or they're doing, and I think you're going to see this with Muntree perhaps and some others, and I was pitched on one from I think the Tummel Incubator who did it directly, which is order on your phone at 8 or 9 p.m., get this brought to the house, and then you just hand it to your son or daughter on the way out. So that's another possibility, is to actually become a food service provider, which is crazy, but I'm invested in one company called Bento, which is doing something similar.
The food is amazing with Bento.
The food is very good. Yes, they're getting there and getting better, and they're figuring out the unit economic cost. But to be in that business, that's like being in like the moving business or the Uber business. It becomes very hard.
And what about gamification? I mean, I met Giants partner. And what about, for 10 meals created with Teco, they can get a stickers at the AT&T park. And like this, the kids who see the Giants like champions, their heroes are giving some stuff, and they're encouraged to eat healthy.
So gamification to this would make it more addicting for kids. And so I think you can choose any number of ways to go with this. One, it could be what we call in the business a dude or dudette business, which is, hey, it makes a couple of $100,000 a year for the founder, right? And you can start down that road and figure out a way for just to get 10,000 people to pay, $5 a month or $50 a year for this tool. And if you can get them to pay $5 a month, $4 a month for a tool like this, and it educates people. Yeah, it's conceivable you could get 10,000 people to do this. You could figure out the customer acquisition cost. So that's one route, and that's plain, simple, easy. Then there's the big crazy route, which would be, hey, we're actually going to have you pick here and have the food show up there. So it gives you a world of possibilities.
I will work hard on that. Thank you.
Yeah, just think about which one would give you as an entrepreneur the most pleasure to wake up every day. Do you want to wake up every day with people complaining about the food being cold or it was late, but also the satisfaction of oh my
Sure.
God, my kid is eating healthy and loves the meals, and I don't feel
And
guilt
just
as a
being simple,
parent?
yeah.
Or do you
Yeah.
want to do the one where it's just information and content, right? It's
Okay.
one of the great things about an entrepreneur is that they get to pick the world they want to live in. You get to define your own reality. And this is an important moment for you because you could get angel investing. You could get people interested in this. But once you start down that road, you start to leave the dude business category, the dudette business category, where now you have investors. Now you have pressure. You might want to keep bootstrapping and then just make it an educational thing where
No,
you...
but I'm ready. I
Yeah.
can go that road.
Well done. Let's hear it for... Is it Jessica?
Yeah, Jessica.
Let's hear it
Thank
for
you.
Jessica. Very
Thank
good.
you. Thank you.
Well done. Hey everybody, let me tell you a little bit about Braintree. It's a full stack payment solution for all your payment types for your customers. Yes, you can do mobile payments fast, easy, seamless, and secure. And you can add it to your apps with just a few lines of code, and then you'll be able to accept Apple Pay, Android Pay, PayPal, Venmo, credit cards, and of course, Bitcoin, everything. And if some other new way to pay people comes along, you know the Braintree team will support that too. Developers love it, founders love it, because it's got superior fraud protection, fast payouts, and continuous world-class support. You'll have fewer abandoned carts, more sales with Braintree's best-in-class mobile checkout. And their customers include, are you ready for this? Uber, Thumbtack, Hotel Tonight, Airbnb, GitHub, and StubHub. And I'm an investor in 2 of those 6 companies. And you'd be in good company to be in that class of companies. Well, here's a call to action, everybody. They're going to give you $50,000 in transactions fee-free. Yes, that's for the people who are on the This Week in Startups audience. If they go to braintreepayments.com/twist, braintreepayments.com/twist, and you'll get $50,000 fee-free. You can't go wrong with that. Developers love it. It's easy to use. What more do you need to know? Thank you to my friends at Braintree for sponsoring independent media like This Week in Startups. Okay, let's get back to the program. Okay, here we go. David,
Hello.
you have a question for me? Good to see you, David.
Good
How
to
are
see
you?
again. Good.
Yeah, as an entrepreneur from Los Angeles, I know.
Yes.
You have a question for me? Let's hear it.
I have a pitch.
A pitch. Go ahead.
Yes.
3, 2, go.
All right. So my name is David. We're Sensei, and we're building a fully functioning computer and a contact lens. Except from the last time I talked to you, now we've actually started building it. So there's 3 parts to it. The first part of it is we wanted to build a direct link between man and machine. So you think something, you feel something, instantly you know it. We do that through the eye. Have you heard the phrase, the eye is the window to the soul?
Yes.
Turns out that's true. There's 2,000 fibers in the iris of the eye. Each one is independently linked to different parts of the brain. And by simply monitoring what's going on in those muscles, we're able to figure out what's going on in the brain. As of now, we can get mental states. We can get emotions. We can know if someone's lying. And we're slowly working on getting it to thoughts. The second part of it, which we also now started to build, is how do you fit a computer chip inside of a contact lens? So we build the computer processor out of molecules of DNA instead of silicon, which seems kind of out there, but in reality, we're just copying the way it works inside of our cells. And the third part is how do you power the contact lens? Did you know the eye is a battery?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So the front of the eye has an incredibly a positive charge, and the back has a negative charge. All the movements of our eye on a daily basis makes a very powerful electromagnetic field that you can tap into, and that's a powerful source of electricity.
Okay. Now, you mentioned
Yes.
you can tell by looking at the eye muscles if somebody's lying.
Yes.
There's 18 ways for me to tell if you're lying to me.
Okay.
I know them. It's a line from
You're
a
a poker
movie.
player, right?
But anyway, there are ways for people to tell based on eye movement if somebody lies. There are ways to do this so that part of the pitch checks out. The power and the contact lens, I'd have to check that out. And the idea of putting something in a contact lens as a display is, of course, the holy grail that a lot of people have been thinking about, but that's 5 years out. This to me seems like a research project that will hit 5, 6, 7 years from now. This is not a 5, 6, 7 month execution. Am I correct, David?
You are correct, except for there's a couple components that we have already started to commercialize, which is the lie detector. The one difference between what we're doing and what's already out there on the eye is they're focusing on the pupil. The one proven way to do a foolproof lie detector is have someone in an fMRI and image the brain, and you could tell from there. We're focusing on the muscles of the iris, which is an exact output of what's going on the brain, so it's as accurate as looking at it in an fMRI.
Great.
And we're working on seeing if it
Unless
could be
you were a sociopath, in which case you might have convinced yourself and your brain, because I know the people at UCLA who are doing some of the research, David. And it
one of
turns
them
out,
actually works for us, so.
It turns out at the UCLA Brain Science Center, sociopaths and devout religious people, like literally the top 5% of religious people, you know this is true. So like the top 5%, the Hasidim, the Scientologists, like truly devout people, ISIS people, you know, like people who are at the high range of actually believing that the Bible is literal text, they're in their minds believe that Jesus is a superhero and came back from the dead. They believe that all apostates should be beheaded. You know, this is really one of the disturbing things about this brain science research, is that when somebody can believe that, they can actually get that far. Now, that's just a total aside.
Yeah.
But coming back down to reality, the challenge for your company, it's a great pitch, but it's a 7-year pitch. And a 7-year pitch, I think, is a great pitch, but you got to figure out, how do we get from here to there? What are the steps along the way? So if we take a company that's all very present of mind, Uber or Tesla, we can take both of those companies and look at, how did they get to Uber Pool? How did they get to the 3rd-gen Tesla, which I guess Elon's going to show next year, according to the reports, the $35,000 car, or the $3.50 ride? They got to, from the $140,000 Roadster, the $60,000 Model S, right? And the Uber Lincoln Town Car for $100, then the Uber X for $35, then Uber Pool, and then eventually now the commuter pass, which is something they've been just talking about this week, of people, you know, doing that. So that's the piece that you're going to have to thread together for investors, unless you can get 7-year investors, you know, like the good people who funded Theranos.
I think I've pitched maybe 10 investors the past 2 weeks, and
are they generals?
No one has failed to mention Theranos to me.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and this is a great revelation from you, David, in that we as entrepreneurs are subject to the environment we are operating within. If it's a bubbly environment, people believe, hey, anything's possible. But when you have Theranos going out there, you know, essentially, it seems, I'll put a slight caveat in here, it seems that they were lying, perhaps even defrauding investors, not allowing people to do due diligence, and only 1 out of 250 tests that they claim they were doing were they actually doing with their own technology. Wow. This is like super crazy stuff. So now you have to operate in that market, which means perhaps if the contact lens isn't ready, maybe you can use your technology with augmented reality and glasses to read my eye, and maybe just do something simple, like one thing, like here are a pair of glasses that you can use to just read people, and it's only for people in the CIA, but we're going to sell them for $25,000 for each pair, and while you're watching somebody, if you're wearing these glasses, you can tell if they're lying, or we'll give you a general indication. So somebody who is a CIA agent overseas can wear the glasses and see if people are... Does that exist already?
We don't know, but I'm sure they have something.
You could probably make that much quicker, correct?
That's actually the first product that we're commercializing.
Right,
it should be done by June.
So I guessed exactly what you should do. Okay, I didn't know that, but okay. So anyway, make that.
Okay.
Listen, I think you're very... And what people also don't realize is you're 19 years old.
18.
All right. Well, you're going to be 19 at some point.
Some point, yeah. We'll see.
By the way, Lee, I mean, you're no spring chicken over here. You're 50 years old. This guy's 18. Let's go. Let's go. Get focused. Let's get that product going. All right. Listen, I'm 44. You're making me feel old. All right. Let's hear it for David. Very good.
Thank you.
Good job, brother. Love it. All right. Here we go. Moving right along. I remember this guy. Here we go.
Hi, Jason.
Okay. You want to pitch or you want to ask a question?
I want to pitch.
Okay. 3, 2, go.
Okay. All you guys, probably most of you have either lost something or something had been stolen from you.
Yes.
So now we can prevent it with simple tracking devices, right? Probably most of you don't know that most of these devices and many wearables could be tracked not only by you, but by anyone, including criminals. Now criminals can buy real-time location data on people for as little as $10 a day. We have solved this problem. We have developed a patent-pending, privacy-enabled tracking technology. It could be used like this kind of chip. It could be integrated into some different consumer products. What we can do with that, we can protect your belongings from theft, and last but not least, we can help people that suffer from Alzheimer's or people who suffer from cognitive diseases that could go out of home, get lost.
Yep.
We can help find these people 10 times cheaper than existing solutions.
Okay. So the pitch is a little bit confusing
Okay.
because when you're pitching something that we all have, find my iPhone, and then you hold up a little chip, and then you say people could buy your location for $10, you've made a bunch of claims, and we're a little bit confused right now. The audience doesn't know exactly how you do what you do and exactly what business you're in, recovering my phone or keeping people from knowing that I'm not at my house. So the pitch is a little bit confused. You need to work on a better 30-second pitch. What is the product? Who are you selling it to? Is it an enabling technology? Is it an API that you're going to sell? Or is it a physical product that you're going to do on Kickstarter? Or you don't know yet?
Yeah, I do know.
Okay.
We want to go two ways. First of all, we want to integrate with physical product manufacturers that could integrate our technology in a software version.
Okay, good. So let's stop there for a second. So we build a piece of technology that OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, can put into their phones and into their laptops and into headphones so that you can track your products. And we can do that for as low as $5 per device. I don't know.
$1 monthly.
Okay, for $1 a month. So you wouldn't, with a $20 pair of headphones, put this chip in it, but for a $2,000 laptop or a $3,000 camera, these cameras here cost $5,000. You might want to have a tracking system if you were an AV company for these specific devices. And here's how it works. We put this little chip in. This chip uses Bluetooth Low Energy to connect to a network of Bluetooth sensors, and that only costs $1 a month versus having an EVDO connection, etc. Now we're starting to get it. So the lesson here for other entrepreneurs is, it's your job, it's our job, to fill in the gap between what the consumer, be it an employee, be it an actual consumer who buys it, a partner, or an investor, or the press. We have to come up with the examples that are so crystal clear, they're rock solid, that everybody understands why you exist and why you deserve to exist and why you deserve our attention. Because let's face it, there's 75 entrepreneurs in this room, I'm guessing. Everybody here has 3 ideas. There's 250 ideas in the room. It is a competition right now for which one or two of these ideas an angel investor or somebody from the press or somebody who books This Week in Startups or the Launch Festival, which one are they going to want to meet with? So you're in competition, and the way you can beat out the competition is to have a really clear example. So the idea of tracking things, sure, I've heard the pitch a million times.
Yeah.
I have one on my keychain that does tracking, the Tracker device, Track-R.
Yeah, so I can track you. Anyone can track you. This is the problem that you have with your device.
Yes. Yes, I'm aware of it. But I can also find my keys pretty quickly. And pretty easy to find. And I have a Ruger, so if anybody wants to jump the fence, they're going to get a hole in it about that big. So I don't recommend it. But well done. Work on the pitch. Work on exactly who it's for. And even if you have, one of the things that entrepreneurs sometimes wind up doing is they're so in love with their own product and they have 12 features that they spent 100 hours on each, that they can't, in their heart, let 11 of them go to make one clear. So they just rattle off all 12, and then nobody's like, oh my God, this person's blabbering and just telling us 12 different features. It would be Bill Gates got up on stage in 1995 and was like, okay, everybody, this is WordPerfect. Now, if you click this button, you can mail merge. If you click this button, you can put a chart in. If you click this button, you can underline. If you click this button, you can collaborate. If you click this button, you can put in data. If you can sort the rows, you can make a table. You can make the tables, underline the rules on it. And it's like, dude, what is this product again? I'm totally lost here. Pick one thing, hang your hat on the best example, then you let other people tell you, oh, if you can use it for tracking those cameras, would it work in cars, or would it work on these things or that things? And then you'll get a little further in how well people can understand your pitch.
Do you think it's worth to show social impact on these kind of things?
If you want to get social impact investors, which there are like 5 of them, Pierre Omidyar, Jeff Skoll, there's a couple of them who are just so wealthy, they make their decisions based on the social impact. And so if you want them, yes, by all means, lead with social impact. If you want the other 99.99999% of investors, lead with how consumers will love this product and it will make them 100 times their money.
Okay, thank you.
Well done. Okay. Good job. All right, here we go. Running, I like it. Oh, here we go. Hurry, hurry, here we go. All right. I feel like I have 8 blog posts to write already. Every time I talk to an entrepreneur, I'm like, oh my God, that's a question that comes up over and over again. Examples matter. That's how in our incubator, we talk about examples matter. And we have 7 companies in this very room with 3 founders each, 21 people. When somebody gets up there and they give a bad example, when we give feedback, we're like, example sucked. And then the people in the audience will give the founder a better example than they can come up with. A lot of times it's people outside in the real world who can give you a better view of your own company. And one of the ways to do that is to just look at them and say, hey, David, explain back to me what the launch incubator is and why people should choose it after I've explained to you why. Because now I'm hearing back what you heard that mattered to you as an entrepreneur, right? So this is one of the great tricks, is the game of telephone. Tell 10 people about your product, ask them to explain it back to you in 30 seconds, write it down, record it, and then you'll see what matters to people in the real world. Okay, tell me your name.
My name is Laura Yeeses.
Okay, Laura. Now, you're going to demo your product, so just keep your mouth in front of the microphone, and let's demo it. 3, 2, go.
Well, let me actually start with a pitch of what we're doing.
No, go right to the product.
Okay.
This is another classic mistake. I'm about to show you my product. Let me do a 1-minute preamble about what my product does, because I'm going to show it to you in a second.
Okay, let's
go
just
right to the
erase
product.
That.
Yes, go right to the product.
Okay, so we've built this product called Wrangle, and the problem that we solve is that we all have so much stuff we can't find it. We can't find what we're looking for.
Okay.
And so we are a better search engine for all of your stuff, not the web stuff, but your stuff. So for instance, you can see that I have all my cloud accounts linked here. Box, Dropbox, we connect to all of the important ones. You can even have multiple accounts from one. So Google, I have my work and personal.
Got it.
And then I can, in one tap, search across all of those accounts. So here's some searches I've done. You are one of the searches. So
got it.
This is something that I've done before.
I'm in a spreadsheet for alternative funding sources. I see that. I would have liked to have been in the primary funding sources. I guess I'm alternative. It's okay. Bloomberg stock. You have stock in Bloomberg?
No.
Whoa.
So
I don't know what Bloomberg is, but
okay. This is a designer that we worked with who were paying in stock.
Image. Yeah. Oh,
and
you're paying in stock. Got it.
We were negotiating with her, and so you can see across all of my sources. So
GB and LY. What is that?
Those are initials, but
Got
you can see I have data from Dropbox, Google Drive. This is from my Yahoo Mail. So in one place, I can see everything. And then beyond just searching, we save the searches. So there's this idea that, frequently used searches, you can go back to a one-click.
Love it. Saved searches.
Save searches. And then what we're doing in our next build are notifications. So I can actually see when there's notifications by topic, not just the mass of notifications, but I want to see when has she signed the agreement, and I'll see a notification there. And then I can actually share these saved searches.
Right.
So in one click, I'm sharing email, Evernote, Dropbox, Google.
Totally get it. So why did you build this, and who is it for?
Well, I built it for me first, and my co-founders built it for them first, because we all have all these apps. And when I sold my last startup and I was doing consulting work, I was constantly switching around, and I realized that the way our whole digital world is organized by app instead of by topic is broken, because the way we work, the way we think is by topic.
It's great. So I've seen the pitch before. The reason I'm picking up my phone is because now when you swipe left on your phone, you get meta search, right? On your phone. So when you do a search on your Apple phone and I type in Calacanis or whatever, I might get an app, I might get connections, I might get news, etc. So this is called meta search. There's public meta search and there's private meta search. There was a desktop company called X.com, was part of
XDrive.
Well, it was originally X, just X, and they may have called it XDrive later, but it came out of Bill Gross's
Idea
Lab. So look it up. Historically, it's always good to look at companies in the past that had the same idea and why they either succeeded or failed. That company existed before mobile. And what they would do is they would index your entire desktop, including Google, it was actually before Gmail, but it would include your desktop mail, include your documents, etc. So that meta search concept's been around. It's executed in a very sparse, nice way. I think that's actually really a great strength. There's a company called Minbox, which launched at our event 3 years ago, 3 years ago at the Launch Festival, that lets you authenticate all of your accounts so that you can share documents and make folders that go across accounts. So if I was a designer and I was working with your company and I was working with the ad agency that was buying the ads and another product manager, we could put in our own, go across our Dropboxes, go across our Google Drives, and make this shared repository of a document locker. So it's all good stuff. The issue is going to be with these is, as a business, there's going to be a group of people, in my experience, who love these productivity tools. You're going to get them no matter what. It's going to be a small number of people, like less than 10% of people. 5% of people love to do this kind of stuff. How many people here would like to try a product like this, do they think? Okay, so in this audience, it looks like somewhere between a third, maybe a third. So this is a really high-tech audience. These are your people. So about a third of them are into it. They would want to try it. That's great. If you keep a third, if you keep half of the third, a sixth, right? So now we're at whatever that is, 10%, 15% of, maybe 15% of this audience could be customers. That's great. How you scale it and get into the enterprise will become the big issue, and how you differentiate. I don't think investors are going to be very particularly drawn to this unless you have some way of getting people to pay for it. So what's the revenue model here? Let me ask you that.
Yeah, so the revenue model is that it would be sort of a Dropbox box go-to-market style, where there's a free version. It'd be free for, your name at gmail.com, paid for company accounts. So you pay for the individual, and then there'd be a group account, and then enterprise where you could authenticate. So for instance, once you know the topics, actually the topics are platforms. Those topics can be things that you could apply rules against. I want to archive everything from one of those topics, or I want to...
Even more complicated than even setting it up. You can make rules and filters. How many people here have filters? How many people here have created a filter on Gmail in the last 30 days? So again, that's like maybe 10% of the audience has. So these are power features, and they appeal to a certain group of people. And what you really have to keep in mind when you make these products is how often people use the feature, how many of your users use the feature. So if you were looking at that like, let's say, Facebook, the news feed, everybody uses all the time. So that's why Facebook spends 95% of their time on just making your newsfeed better and better and more relevant, right? The edge ranking, everything. Taking out things that don't matter, putting in things that do. And then like groups, like, half the people use it half the amount of time or 1/3 the amount of time. So you have to really start thinking about what is the feature that everybody's going to use all the time. And the reason why I think you'll get a little bit of a lukewarm response from investors is, again, back to moment in time. If this was 5 years ago and Dropbox had just launched at the Launch Festival and that was 8 years ago, but, Dropbox was becoming big, that would be great. But right now, you're living in a world where people are down on Box, down on Dropbox, down on Evernote, down on productivity tools, down on these kind of things. So you're going to have to fight a little bit of a headwind, which is you're going to have to prove to investors that people really want this, they really use it, right? And so one of the ways to mitigate against that is to, when you get the first, how many users are using it in the beta, or is it in beta?
We're in the dozens of users. We're still in alpha.
That's perfect. So when you move to your beta and you have 1,000 people using it, one of the things you're going to want to lead with is how often they're using it. So not just retention, but engagement, right? So of the 1,000, let's say you have 1,000 beta users, what a sophisticated investor is going to ask you is, how many of them use it every day? So you have 1,000 installs, and then people who authenticated more than 3 services. Of the group of people who authenticated more than 3 services, how many of them use it every day or 5 days a week, right? This is like the most loyal users. So if you look at something like Instagram, how many people here are regular Instagram users, would they say? How many people are regular Instagram users? Okay, keep your hand up if you use it every day. Now, did you notice not many went down? So that's one of the things about Instagram, is if you use Instagram, you use it every day. That's why Instagram's a tremendous product. Now, if we were to do that for another product, let's say, how many people here use Evernote? How many people use Evernote? How many people use Evernote every day? Keep your hand up. So about more than half put their hands down. So I use Evernote, but I don't use it every day. And that's really interesting, because that shows that Evernote is a product that's a little bit waning, right? So this this is one of the key metrics that VCs and investors are going to look at. How often do your most loyal users use the product?
Right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well done. Hey everybody, let me take a moment to tell you about a product I love and use every day. It's video hosting from Wistia, W-I-S-T-I-A, Wistia. It is awesome. And who uses it? MailChimp, Moz, HubSpot, Zendesk, Herman Miller, Sam Adams, and of course, This Week in Startups. They've got 140,000 customers, and they are growing like a weed. Now, why do we use it? Well, if we use a free service like YouTube, we have all YouTube's ads and collaterals and garbage, and it looks terrible, and it's not customizable. So it looks bad, and everything that YouTube does is in service of increasing their metrics, not your metrics. Well, what are your metrics as a business? Well, for me, it's collecting emails. 2, it's having people on my domain, my site, making it look beautiful, not having that ugly thing that comes up at the end of like a YouTube video that shows all the different videos of other people that I don't want to send my users to. I want, when the video ends, for them to watch another episode of This Week in Startups. I can control all of that with Wistia. That's why I use it. And it works perfectly on Facebook and Twitter with the cards, and you can play it natively on those platforms. It's gorgeous. And it'll give you a ton of support. You want to take control of your video. Video is a huge asset, and you want to do it professionally. The analytics program is amazing. You can see on a user-by-user basis how long they're watching, and if they rewound and watch a section twice, all this kind of great stuff. Tons of support, super easy to use. And it's built, a lot of their new tools are built for marketers, so collecting emails and that kind of stuff. And you don't have YouTube or Vimeo doing that kind of stuff. Those platforms have their own goals, which is selling ads and keeping people on their platforms and stealing those users from your platform. Start your 2-week trial for free on Wistia, wistia.com/twist. No credit card is required because they're so confident that you're going to love the service like I do. And you can upload as many videos as you like. Wistia.com/twist, W-I-S-T-I-A, Wistia.com/twist. I love the product. I love the team. And it's been fantastic for us. We got control of our own videos again, and we are now collecting emails every day, dozens of emails every week, hundreds of emails every year, thousands of emails to build our direct relationship. That is, not have an intermediary between it, telling us how we can talk to you, our fans. We have a direct relationship. It's brilliant. I love Wistia. All right, let's get back to this amazing episode.
Romance reference earlier?
It was a true romance
18
reference.
pantomimes.
That was Christopher Walken.
I should do my Christopher Walken impression.
You can do your Christopher Walken.
2 mice.
At your own peril. What's your company? Wow. Oh my God. So exciting. Go ahead, Joe.
Pantomimes.
Pantomime. All right.
Okay.
I think we shouldn't do the rest of that.
Sure.
It ends with somebody getting murdered and just horrible, horrible words that we really... Yeah. Okay. Tarantino wrote the script.
Great scripts.
They wouldn't let him direct it.
Well, that was actually his first commercial movie, which a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him direct it. Can you imagine? That was a great film. How much better would it have been if Tarantino had directed it?
Been amazing.
All right, Sam. Okay, Joe.
So first question is, do you have a pet dog or cat at home?
You know I have 2 bulldogs, so...
Perfect, because our product is only for dogs and not cats.
Great. I hate cats.
Okay, great. So we've built and manufactured the world's smallest GPS dog tracker.
Love it.
And you could text this device and check on your phone exactly where your dog is, but additionally, because GPS by design is so inaccurate, you could take a picture from the device and actually see where your dog is via cell phone signal, even if the GPS signal isn't accurate.
Got it. So it has a 3G connection in it and
Correct.
a really low-res camera.
Correct.
What does it cost per month for the service?
$7.
Okay. Now, do you make any profit off that $7?
We do.
Okay. What does it cost you if you're charging $7 a month? That means you're charging $84 a year, and
Correct.
this device costs $50 to buy. What's your sale price going to be?
Well, we're not. It's just going to be the subscription.
Just a subscription. So
Yep.
you get it for free if
get
you
it,
buy
yep.
a year.
$7 a month. Yep.
You have to buy a year or something?
Correct.
Okay. So for $84 a year, this device costs $10 to make, $20 to make?
$20.
Okay. So $20 to make at scale.
Correct.
And so you'll make money every time you sell one for sell it for $69. How much? What's your price you're going to sell it for? Just a subscription for a year?
Just a subscription, yeah.
Okay. So I've looked at a lot of these. I've seen a lot of them. They're very expensive. They're very hard to set up. and they're a little too complicated.
Correct.
And they really, like, they track steps, they track how lethargic they are. Like, I know I have bulldogs that are lethargic. So I like the idea that it takes a picture. I like the idea that it's only $7 a month. How many people here have a dog? Raise your hand if you have a dog. Keep it up if you would buy this product or consider. So that's, wait. So nobody would buy it. Okay, that's interesting. So now the question becomes, why would only 2 of 10 buy it, 20%? And it could be that the other 8 of 10 people don't understand the value of it, and the 2 or 3 of us who do understand the value of it will then show them at the dog park the value of it. When is it going to come out? Are you going to do a Kickstarter? Where is it at?
We've actually already brought it to market. We're a hardware startup called RoboCop with 2 Ps. This is our second product.
Got it.
And right now we're selling 50 to 100 units a month through word of mouth marketing only.
Great.
I know with any sort of marketing strategy.
Yeah. So in terms of marketing, you know, the press is the way to get early Kickstarter like, adoption of this. So I'm assuming you have done that and you've gotten press for this?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
No.
So press is the really easy layup, right? So that's one. The second is, once you get the press, putting the little Facebook tracking pixel, the Google tracking pixel, and being able to do something called retargeting. What is retargeting? If somebody sees your ad, clicks on your ad, watches one of your videos on your YouTube channel or visits your website, then you can stalk them around the rest of the web. So as they go to other websites, they see it over and over again. When you retarget ads, you hit people 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times with 2, 3 messages. The chances of them buying it go up. Because it's going to be $85. What do you sell it for on the website again?
$7 a month.
Right, but what do you make them pay immediately? 7?
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Okay, so you might be pricing it wrong.
Okay.
And there could be a perception about price. What I would do is I would sell it for, $69 with 1 year of service and $110 with 2 years of service, something like that. And you can test pricing, which when you see Eric Reese tonight speak, if you're here for it, he really focused a lot of his first book, The Lean Startup, on these testing concepts, A/B testing, multivariate testing, testing price, doing little experiments about your startup. So if you were talking to Eric, or you're talking to myself, or any number of people who are in the startup game, they would say do a bunch of experiments on price point and see which one works. Retarget people, and then using the press to actually get people to tell stories about it. And a good company to look at is Doorbell. So I don't know if you've seen Doorbell, but one of the things Doorbell did really well was anytime somebody behaved badly outside of a door, they had a video of the FedEx guy saying something offensive and throwing the box. They had a video of a guy breaking into a mailbox, breaking into the home. How many people here have Doorbell? Anybody here have Doorbell? Nobody. You have one person, that's okay. How many people have seen any of the Doorbell videos? So that's interesting. You have like 5 or 6 people who have seen it. So what they've done is they've used the little camera and the sharing to become their marketing message and to display the value proposition, which is somebody broke into a house. They had them like at the door, like doing this in front of the little doorbell. The person didn't realize there was a door there, and they're talking, and the person's a lookout. So they had a lookout up front, talk to them. Yeah, no, there's nobody here yet. Okay, yeah, okay, let's go. Hurry up, guys. And they're basically describing the break-in. And those guys obviously got busted really quick. In fact, the person got the alert, somebody's at your door, watched the clip, called 911, and I don't know if 911 got there in time, but they got the guys the same day. So in this case, if somebody were to say something to your dog or kick your dog, like the dog's in the yard and somebody throws something at the dog or hits the dog, and you have video of that, it's like the Uber driver who got beat up tragically the other day by the executive from Taco Bell. And how many people here have seen that video? Right. Yeah, exactly. It's the most disturbing thing you're going to see this week, or amongst them. So that's where you could start to get really great press is, hey, the dog in the front yard who your neighbor hits with the hose, but nobody ever saw it, you have it now, right? So if you could, there's not a motion detector on here, though, because it would be going off constantly.
No.
So it's not a DVR either. You have to snap it yourself.
Correct.
So that would be a good 2.0 feature.
Yeah.
So it's a small market. It's interesting. The other interesting thing to think about would be you could put this anywhere other than a dog, and you've done 90% of the work for a dashboard cam, or a camera in the car that goes off, and is in the corner if you get stopped by the police, or if you have somebody valeting your car, you put this in the corner. So there might be other use cases for a $7 camera that just takes a picture and sends it over the network every hour, every minute, right? So a camera that just sends a picture every minute and that was this size that I could put on a shelf, pretty compelling, right? So I would think a little bit bigger too, if you crush it with the dogs.
Okay.
Awesome. Jill, did you have a question too?
No, I'm just here to say hi.
Okay. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. So you're the co-founders?
Yes, correct.
Got it. Okay. Awesome.
All
right.
We have Marin as an advisor as well.
Who's Marin?
Marin Donovan.
Okay. Oh, okay, great. From
Yeah.
Searchable.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, she knows some pretty good growth techniques. All right, let's hear it for, what's the name of the product again?
RoboCop Pet Tracker.
Pet Tracker. Okay, very good. Let's hear it for Pet Tracker. Awesome. Well done. Get good at press. And press, you don't need a big PR fancy firm. You can just email people and say, can I send you a unit? We're a mom and pop shop. We made this. Would you like to see it? It works. Okay. Yeah. What time? It's 2:21. Let's do one more. Two more. Two more. Sure. 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 Okay. Lightning round.
Is that fine?
Android?
Android.
Yeah.
My team has the iPhone, so someone has to have an Android. So anyways, I'm James Cisneros. I'm the founder of Zaha. I'm actually in the middle of moving from Philadelphia to Silicon Valley.
Great.
So,
tell us about your product and,
okay.
or your question.
So the problem that I'm addressing is problems that are ignored in education.
Okay.
Schools do not have a solution to manage activities, to spur involvement, and they lack a uniform communication platform for parents, staff, alumni, and of course students.
Okay.
Okay.
That's not true.
Well,
That part of the pitch that they don't have
right.
that.
I've met with over 200 schools and associations, including the National Association of Secondary School Principals, National Honor
Yeah, no,
Society.
I've seen startups that do communication between students and teachers and alumni.
They do have communications between students, teachers, and alumni. Most of them are focused on the classroom. We're focused on everything after the bell. Football, band, student government.
All right.
Okay.
So anyway, here's a lesson. I'll interrupt you here.
No, I apologize.
No, you
Yeah.
don't have to apologize,
Okay.
James. We're all here to learn, right?
Okay.
And we're all constantly learning. One of the things you have to be very careful of in a pitch, and the reason I stopped you is it's a great lesson for us, which is if you say something that's patently false and the angel investor knows it, all of a sudden it's just like they just glaze over. They're like, oh, well, that's not true. So either it's not true because you're massaging the truth, or you don't understand the other products that are in the market. But my friend Shamath has a product that I forgot. I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. Somebody can look it up right now.
Is it Remind?
Remind.
Yeah.
And
very,
that's just,
very aware of them.
Yeah. So Remind has millions of people I know because I
Right.
saw some of the statistics, and it's teachers and parents and students and whatever, or teachers and parents all interacting. And then I've seen 20 other pitches of parents, teachers, and coaches all interacting. So just be careful when you come up with a pitch, and then assume the person is super sophisticated and knows the whole landscape, because it's like one person came up to me one time and was like, Pinterest is a horrible business. Let me explain to you why. And they went through all the problems with Pinterest. And I was like, I would have loved to invest in Pinterest. Everybody I know who uses Pinterest loves Pinterest. There's nothing horrible about this product at all.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden it was like, well, why is this person shooting down Pinterest over like these little tiny features that obviously Pinterest is going to either get to or A/B test? So let's start over.
Okay.
Tell me what your product does really well, not what I know other products also do well.
Okay.
It's a better
and,
pitch.
And actually, so I would, at another time like to talk about that because I do have a lot of information about Remind.
Okay.
Okay. So what
So you would like to tell me why Pinterest is a terrible business, or Remind that I missed on investing in?
I'd like to learn more about it to see if my opinion is wrong. But we do have one of the earliest users,
Yeah. So here's one of the things about, because you're belaboring the point, I'm going to belabor it.
I was trying to apologize.
No, you don't have to apologize. Okay. It's, here's the thing about entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are, and you're, one of them, and I'm one of them. Entrepreneurs are, combative people, right? And so I just want to make sure, one of the things that you need to understand as well is, if the product is loved, it means there's a category there. It means there's an opportunity there.
Right.
So if we go back to the Pinterest example, the proper way to come into Pinterest's space when you're talking to investors is, my God, Pinterest has gotten to 100 million users in only 40 months. And We did research on it, and these are the 5 reasons people love it. Looking at that, we realized virtual reality is an opportunity to take Pinterest, and now that the platforms have changed, we can, in virtual reality, create what we think would be Pinterest for VR. Of course, they've got this huge business they've built. We don't think they're going to focus on this. We think this is a huge change. Pinterest for VR is going to be, this is actually a really good pitch. Fuck it, I'm out of here. I'm going to go do Pinterest for VR. But anyway, I think that guy's doing Pinterest for VR back there. But that to me is now you're convincing me. You're like, okay, we had the web version of Pinterest, then we had Winleo doing it on mobile, and then Find, and then, now we have the next piece is VR, okay? So, anyway.
So what we do very well is we enable a school to set up their community club by club, freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors, band, football, debate, parents, staff.
Sure.
Parents on their device will be able to view one stream of content, one calendar for all kids at all schools. So if they have a child in middle school, in high school, one place, including content from the PTA or other clubs that may not be directly affiliated to the school, one platform.
Great. How do people do it currently?
What's that?
And how do people do it currently?
Currently what they do is website updates, email blasts, calendar updates, Facebook posts, tweets, robocalls, remind, text messages.
Great.
Okay. So that's currently what they're doing.
Great. So now that we've established that, and anybody who's a parent here, anybody here have kids in school who are parents? Raise your hand. Anybody who's has kids in school, raise your hand if they use email mailing lists for your school. Okay, everybody, 100%. Raise your hand if they use Remind. Anybody use Remind? Nobody. So that's good. It's that means there's an opportunity that Remind doesn't have everybody yet. So where on the spectrum you're basically Slack for activities or parents?
We're Facebook for everything after the bell.
Okay.
In our first release with our seniors, which is not really our target, we had a 70% conversion rate. We expect it to be much, much higher. Imagine when the freshmen are invited to network to meet their future classmates and explore activities.
How do you make money?
So very targeted ads to adults, parent discovery, consumer surveys.
What does it mean, parent discovery?
Parent discovery of a summer camp.
Okay, so that's advertising too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can I help? You want feedback?
Okay. Well, I actually came because I'm hoping to be in the incubator.
Okay,
we
great.
want to launch during the launch festival.
Awesome. Tell me the name of it.
Zaha.
Zaha. Okay. So I'll give you some insight into how we pick things for the incubator. We had the first time around 150 people apply, accepted 7. Next time 350, accepted 8, graduated 6.
Mm-hmm.
This time around, we have 400 people have applied, and there's 5 or 6 days left, so we'll probably hit 600. We're going to accept 7, so we'll have less than a 1% acceptance rate.
Right.
Unless we do 2 sections and have 14 companies and just do them in parallel, which is always a possibility. Putting that aside, our incubator is extremely hard to get into right now because there's so many people applying. The people who are getting in have a couple of traits in common. 1, the product's done, so that's seems like you have. 2, the product is designed extremely well. And when I say extremely well, I would say Apple would be willing to feature it, right? And so the way to tell if your app is as good as Apple's to feature it would be to look at apps that Apple has featured in the App Store right now. Are you as good as that? That's a pretty high benchmark, isn't it? So we would say if the ones Apple are featuring are 9, 9.5, and 10s on design, we might accept an 8, 8.5, maybe a 7.5 if there was something else. And the other piece that we're really looking at this time around, and remember, as entrepreneurs, you don't operate in a static environment, you operate in a dynamic environment. So there's 2 different types of dynamism going on here. One is our incubator is more popular than it was, right? So it's harder to get into, therefore the benchmark goes up for who does get in. The other thing that's happened is there's many more startups, which means there's more competition. And there's another dynamic thing that's happened, which is everything on the web, everything you need to know about making a startup is available on the web, and people are really good at it now. So design is one thing, finishing the product is another. Some level of traction, that's starting to happen, where we have people who are like, we have dozens of people in the alpha, then we have another group that says we have hundreds of people in the beta, and then we have another group that's saying, we have 1,000 people in the, public beta, right? So we're starting to see more and more people be further along in traction. And then finally, and this is a really secret weapon that I wrote about on my blog, which is at calacanis.com, just the other day, which was don't bring a knife to a gunfight. A lot of startups are coming to incubators now with an unfair competitive distribution strategy. That's why I asked you, like, how you're going to make money and how you're going to get it out there. And you talked about, hey, we're going to get out there by people being invited to meet their classmates before.
We spoke about getting it out there, but we also support education associations like the Future Business Leaders of America, the National PTA. They have the same problem. That's why it's all one platform that they can use.
Great. So that's partnerships can be one. One of the things that would be a unique distribution strategy. Another, I gave a couple of examples in my piece, but we had one company, Scout, that came into the incubator, and they had gone to property managers who managed over 100 Airbnbs or VRBOs, and they had gotten those people to embrace their product. So instead of going after, with Scout Travel, which was a travel concierge service, instead of going after individual users, they went after people who have dozens of individual users per month, hundreds per year. And I was like, wow, you've actually talked to these people? They're like, no, we talked to them and we've signed them up, and some of them are paying. Then they did a second thing where they did street teams really well. And I was like, wow, you're doing street teams, and the people who are installing are 5 times more likely to use the product than the people from Facebook. Therefore, the $4 Facebook install is really a $20 install compared to your installs on the street, and you've got people on the street for $15 an hour or free as marketing interns doing it. So coming to the table with some really well thought out distribution strategy in 2016 is going to be one of the great differentiators for startups. So yours are a little bit like you have a lot of them or a lot of different ideas about it. What I would suggest is having one that you've tested and works. We can acquire teachers for this amount. We can acquire students for this amount. This amount of capital would get us this many students. Boom, right? And that's really if you look back historically, I think Zuckerberg, the reason why people were so drawn to that investment was he showed them, here is the tipping point. On any campus, we get these 15 people, then we get these 150 people, and then by week 5, we've got half the campus. Once we have half the campus, we go to the next one. But we don't go to the next campus until we've got half the campus, and here's the way to do that. And he had a playbook. Uber had the same thing. Here's how we take over a city. Boom, here's our playbook. So if you have a playbook, people will look at your product and go, anybody can build that product. And they're right. It's so easy to build products today. You can hire really great firms to do it. The question is, do you have the ability to stop making features and start doing distribution? And that's what will differentiate you. So if you look at all the pitches today, Lee, do you have some, I would ask you, when you go to your next, you don't have to answer this now, but the question for you to ask when you go to investors is, we have a way to acquire farmers better than anybody else. Let me show you how it works. And then you play a phone call of an SDR, or you play, or you show an interaction with them at a conference, right? Whatever it is. And when I see that as an angel investor, I'm like, oh, I used to look and say, how well is the product design? How good is the design? Now I see so many well-designed products. I'm like, okay, 100 well-designed products to choose from, passionate founders. Oh, these 7 have the best distribution concepts and go-to-market strategies. I'm going to go with them. Why? Well, we've eliminated product market fit by having a great product, and now we've eliminated getting to the first 1,000 or 10,000 customers by having a unique distribution advantage. So this is a super big secret that, the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th feature on your roadmap, even the 4th, 5th, and 6th are not as important as your unique distribution idea or competitive advantage. So let me just say that again really clearly. Your 3rd, 4th, and 5th feature are not as important as your distribution feature. So work on that. Literally, anybody who's a good investor is going to look at your product and guess the next 10 features. But what they're not going to guess is how do you get the first 1,000 customers. And if you could fill that in, it's like, oh, then all of a sudden like, oh, this person could be Travis from Uber. This could be Marco from Thumbtack. This could be David Sachs from Yammer and PayPal and Zenefits. This could be one of those people who knows not just how to make a great product, but how to get great distribution.
And now's not the time, but we do have it.
Good. Okay. Awesome. Right. I'm sure you do.
Thank you.
And I'm sure if you didn't have it, you wouldn't say either. All right, let's hear it. Good job. All right. Jackie, what's the next thing here? Because, God, there's so many people here.
Okay. We have Jacopo's Ask Me Anything right up after this. Do we have time for one more pitch? One more?
You're running the show. Do you want me to do one more?
I would love you to do one.
Okay, great. Can we set up the microphone for him?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right here on the microphone. Tell him your name.
My name is Kurt Kumar. I'm from calldoctor.today from LA. Just drove right now.
You drove here?
Yeah.
Good.
Call Doctor Today allows you to talk to a doctor without any registration, no credit card, no prior scheduling in under 6 seconds. And basically, you can talk to them as a self-help direction. It's basically replacing your WebMD kind of a task where, let's say, 9 o'clock in the night, you forgot to make an appointment. You're like, oh, let me check on WebMD what this throat rash is or what the symptoms are. WebMD gives you like, hey, nothing's wrong, go back to sleep, or hey, you're going to die of cancer, go make your will, right? So we are trying to target people who want to have some kind of a self-help conversation with the doctor. The catch is the doctor is cross-border, so it's a cross-border on-demand economy.
Where is the doctor?
All the doctors are right now in India.
Okay.
So if you wanted to speak to a Mandarin, we'll have a Chinese doctor as well,
Okay.
and so forth.
How do you make money?
It's a 240 annual subscription plan. You can call as many times as you want. And then on top of that, let's say if the doctor recommends to do yoga, then we'll get you a yoga instructor to do video calls or FaceTime.
So it's like Better, PHA, which is now defunct, sadly.
Yes.
But you're talking directly to a concierge doctor, but they're not an American doctor.
They're not.
So how would you compare the qualifications, respectfully, of
Sure.
an Indian doctor
Sure.
versus an American one? Because I don't know. Are they
Sure.
better? Are they worse? Is it harder to get a degree over there?
Most of these doctors are the same ones that come here and do presentations, and the US doctors actually attend those conferences to
Got it.
attend what are the new techniques being done by the doctors in India or in Dubai or in Bangladesh. So they are well qualified, and they're on our payroll. We do their background checks and everything.
What do they get paid per year?
They right now or on our platform?
Both.
They can make anywhere from, in US dollars, it'll be $15,000 a year to as high as $50,000 a year.
A doctor in India
Doctor in India.
gets paid on average $30,000 a year. I'm splitting the two numbers.
Yes.
What would the lifestyle be in American dollars in India, just so people in the audience understand?
Sure.
$30,000 would translate into how much money here? 5 to 1, 10 to 1, 7 to 1? In other words, what's their rent? What's their house cost?
Sure. I can give you a good example. If you were working at McDonald's and a similar McDonald's in India, you wouldn't be able to get a good meal with 1 day's pay in India. But here you're able to buy a good day's meal, one meal, with just 1 hour of your work.
That's
So
confusing. Okay.
Oh. Well,
Anyway, that brings in a whole nother confusing aspect, which is how much money like they charge for fast food, like Starbucks.
1 to 60, how about that? $1 is 60 rupees in India. So
if you made $30,000 a year in India,
you can live like a king.
You would live like a king.
Yeah, you can have your own house.
What does a house cost? Like a 2 or 3,000 square foot, 3 or 4 bedroom house cost for these doctors?
Less than $1,000 if you're on a 12-month
month.
lease. Yes.
Okay, so I got it. Okay, so that means if you were renting that house in a city, it would be 6,000 or 7,000. So it's probably 7 times the dollar amount. So $30,000 there would be a $200,000 salary here. Take me a guess.
Yeah.
Or 5 times something.
Well, basically, if you look at it, if you're earning, you can have all your expenses paid, good house, servants. You can have somebody drive you around, pay your cell phone bill, car bill, everything in under $1,500 US dollars. Under $1,500
Per month.
per month.
Yeah, okay.
And this is in the
All right.
city.
And how much are you going to pay them?
They get 90% of it. The platform only keeps 10%.
Got it. Okay, so you're just, and then how do you split it over time? Do you take the $240 for the year, and then if I call 10 times, it's $24 per? But do I have one doctor, or do I have access to many?
If you go to the subscription plan, which is $240, and we haven't figured out what the premium will be,
Yeah.
you can save the contact details of, let's say, Jason calls Kurt. You can save Kurt Kumar on your phone. And the next time you call me, I'll know that, hey, Jason is calling me, and if they are available, they'll talk to you. Or
Okay,
they'll
what's
do
your
a-
liability in terms of them giving advice?
So there is no liability. You have to think of it from a WebMD perspective. We are removing WebMD, and there's a person standing. Now you're just asking me questions, self-help direction. Like, hey, I think I have this. Well, what do you think
Okay.
it is? And
All right, so they can't give you a prescription.
no prescription.
They
We
can
don't want
just
to do
talk
that.
to you.
Yes.
So, okay. How far along are you at the business?
I can show you a demo if you
no,
want.
we don't have time. But
Okay.
how far along are you? You launched the product?
It's on the App Store. You can download it and get routed to a doctor.
And what's it called?
Call Doctor.
Call Doctor.
Call Doctor.
Okay, I'm going to try to remember it.
I can change the name. I know.
No, it's not. I don't think it's necessarily a bad name. How many people here, let's just take a look. How many people here think they would use a product like this? Okay, that's more than enough to get you started. So there's definitely a market for it. I know with Better PHA, I love the product. A lot of people loved it. They couldn't figure out how to make it work.
Yes.
I think on a margin basis and
yes.
the cost of acquisition, and then some people just weren't ready.
I've sent a couple of emails to Jeff.
Yeah, so the idea of like talking to a healthcare professional on chat, that's something that a lot of people haven't done. How many people here in the last year have done care over the phone? How many people have done care with their primary care physician on the phone? How many people have done it in person or on the phone? Okay, so about a third of the people who did go to the doctor in the past year, the rest of you need to make an appointment, or about a quarter of them did it over the phone. Right. So there's something there that, yes, people are getting more comfortable with this. SMS chat rooms. The fact that you can't do a prescription, I think, is going to be a deal breaker. Right. And I think the people who are going to win this are the people who have. So I think it's an interesting like fallback, but I don't think it's the full product. I think having the Indian doctors to give advice and talk 24 hours a day, but then having the ability to escalate my sore throat up to a real doctor.
Yes.
And then have the real doctor, and by real I mean really able to give me my Z-Pack and make it go away.
Yes.
Like. Or, Robitussin with codeine is really delightful,
so we have a
whatever
it
is.
We have a tie-up with Medicast, then the doctor comes actually to your house and gives you the
and those things cost $200 a visit, $150 a visit?
Actually, the pricing is changed based on your insurance. Mm-hmm. So if Blue Cross Blue Shield says, yes, we'll take telemedicine, then it's free to you.
Yeah, so one of the things I've learned is that the insurance companies are getting okay with doctors coming to your house. Yeah. And paying for that,
yep.
Because if 1 of 10 of us go to the emergency room, it costs $7,000
yep.
or $5,000, and if they send 10 people to go at $200 each, and it's $2,000, right. and they keep 1 or 2 of us out of the emergency room,
it's net positive.
It's net positive. So I think doctors. How many people have had a doctor come to their house in the last year? I'm raising my hand because I have. You have. Do you have a concierge doctor?
Actually, I use it for my mother, who's in a senior center.
So she's in a center where the doctor is already?
No.
At our house?
No, she's in a senior facility, and I have a concierge doctor.
Got it. And that costs you about $5,000 a year?
Oh, God, more than that.
$10,000 a year, yeah.
I could buy a house for whatever.
Yeah, so like when I was in LA, I had like somebody pitch me on the concierge doctor, and it was $50,000 a year, and like I knew some people paying for it.
Right.
And then I was like, there's no way I can afford that. They're like, how about $25,000? And I was like, I still can't afford that. But then here in the city, I have one that's $3,500 a year, which is a lot of money.
Right.
But boy, is it fucking convenient to be, when you have kids, to be able to have the doctor come. I'm lucky to be able to afford that now, but
yep.
that's going to be the model, I believe, is people having the doctors do. So that means that your business could be like a neat business, and you get it to here, and then over the top comes the doctors coming directly. So you should be agnostic to. You might have this insight about the Indian market. I'm assuming you're Indian.
Yes.
And you have some people over there who can help with this. That's great as a starting point, but be agnostic and make your mission to just get people one-on-one care.
Right.
And if that means having a doctor here who'll go visit people and having the doctors do that, just be agnostic to it and let the data tell you where to go.
True.
Awesome.
Okay.
Let's hear it for Call Doctor.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, everybody, we have a couple of more seminars going on. I think the Samsung Incubator is going to talk. Is that right? And the Samsung
Jacopo Lenzi is coming up next, so
Great.
Stick around for that.
So people know Samsung runs a kick-ass incubator. That's ridiculously generous, and the terms are better than my incubator or Y Combinator or Techstars. So we have to compete against them, giving this super awesome deal. And they're great investors to have because Samsung has the ability to get you into big, massive distribution. I've seen them do it with a couple of companies. So my friend David Un, who I knew from AOL, went to Samsung and really built this incredible platform for that with them here in the United States. So it's a pretty cool company. Are we going to take a bio break, or are we going to go right into it?
Yes.
Right into it?
No, I think. Are we going right into it, or are we taking a bio break?
Okay, so give us a second to do a little audio change, and then we'll get there. Okay, thank you very much.